Hey everybody, welcome to November. It is time for another Found Money Month. This is a Found Money Month for me in the month of November. I consider found money any money that is not part of your normal scheduled paycheck. So if you are not normally doing overtime, it would be overtime. If you get a bonus, it would be bonus. Incentives, you would get it would be incentives. Any pay that is outside of the norm. It could be a settlement, it could be tax return, it could be all of those things. I consider them to be found money, and I allocate them once they hit my checking account. So these funds are including extra money that I received in my found money category. So I'm just going to show you guys how I'm breaking this down and where I am putting each. I'm going to do the normal monthly bills that are my husband and I's for our household, and then I'm going to go into some other extra categories that I will be allocating funds with the found money. So if you are interested, stay tuned. So before I get started, I wanted to say, if you are new to my channel, welcome. And if you are not new, welcome back. My name is T. I talk a little bit about everything on this channel, but I do focus heavily on finance and finance related topics. So I'm going to get into this found money budget month of November. This budget will include found money and my salary and my husband's salary contributions to our joint household bills. And the budget for this month will be $16,795.59. So let's get into the budget. I'm going to share my screen on my computer so you can see where I am allocating. Now, there are a couple of changes on this budget, but for the most part, it's a clear-cut budget as my normal months. It'll appear the same way. Our budget amount is $16,795.59. That includes the found money and my husband and myself, our contributions to our joint expenses, which are these billing categories to include the mortgage. So I'm going to go down our list here. Health insurance stays the same at $45.64. Our car insurance is $285.91. However, in December, that will be changing to $334.24. Cell phones remain the same at $214.77. Cable, internet, and landline will remain the same at $348.61. Note, I am reimbursed for a portion of that by my job. Water, I'm going to keep that at $57. It was very close last month, and it seems to kind of teeter around this amount, so I'm just going to keep that exactly the same. If it's lower, then great. The gym, it was slightly higher last month because I had my annual fee, but that is paid, so this should be the same at the $45.90. Utilities, I just double checked my bill so I don't make the same mistake I made last month, and that is $143.05. Subscriptions will go down by $26.73 to $330.04 because I removed Sirius XM radio from a vehicle. Pet care, food, and litter is my standard $100. If you've watched my previous videos, you will know that I always put that even if we don't get pet food or cat litter, because that money can be set aside for vet bills for our cat should he need care. Gas, I'm going to leave that at $265. I shouldn't need any gas this month, but we shall see. Groceries, dining out, and vitamins, I put that at $1,100 because we did go out an extra time. We're going out an extra time this month, so I just wanted to increase that a little bit, but we actually may be lower because our trip is this month. Personal care, I'm just going to leave that at $50. I hope to spend as close to zero as possible in that category because my coupons and everything are loaded on my CVS card. So I'm going to try to get as much personal care stuff as I can for the free 99 or as close to it as I possibly can. Home needs, I'm going to put that at $150. I cannot think of anything we need around here right now, but you never know, and something's always popping up, so it's better to be prepared. Miscellaneous, I always put something in that category for the unexpected things that could pop up during the month. I'm going to put $150 there. If we use it, we use it. If we don't, we don't. So that would be the total on the credit card as $3,285.92. Our mortgage will be $1,865.38. Note that total includes one mortgage payment with escrow and then one additional principal payment. And I actually increased it just slightly because one of my goals for 2025 was to be under $70K in our mortgage, and this will keep us on track to do so. So our total budgeted is $5,151.30 for the month of November in our household bills, and we don't have to replenish overage. We don't have any carryover from being under. So we're going, well, we had $3 and some change under, but it wasn't even worth noting. So I just left that blank. And so that's going to be our total in bills this month. So that will be coming out of this $16,795 total and these expenses that I will be allotting for. All right, so I have my budgeted monthly expenses here. We are going on our annual trip. We do take a 2-week trip, a hunting trip in Pennsylvania. So we are doing that this month. And this is just to help with our expenses, our lodging and things that we do there. So $1,700 for that. $1,950 is going to go to fully fund my Roth IRA for 2025. $3,000 was actually used already in my down payment. Yes, I did get the car. We will talk about this a little later. The brokerage account will get $500 for the month of November. It's already gotten some of that already. $2,000 will go to my husband and daughter to do something nice for them. I always do that when I have a found money month. It's just my thing. It's become common. That is what I do. And then I will be keeping $2,494.29. That money is going to be saved for possible expenses and to jumpstart my car payoff because I do have a plan, as always. So we're going to go into that next, but I want to talk to you really quick before I go into the whole car situation because I'm feeling away. So I need to talk about it. Let's talk. I thought about the whole car situation and how I approached it up here, and I don't think I was the most responsible in how I approached that situation up here. I do want to make it clear. Debt is debt. I am not one of those people that classifies good debt and bad debt. I am not. If you've watched any of my videos, you would know this, especially my earlier videos. So the people that have been rocking with me a long time, you know that that is just not how I see it. I see debt as debt, all debt. I don't care what kind of debt it is. So that is how I view debt. So I am very aware that this car is a debt because that's how I'm taking it on. I'm taking it on as a debt. That is a conscious decision that I made with a lot of thought about whether I wanted to pull funds from other sources. I did not want to do so. Basically, my thought process with this whole thing was I wanted to pay enough down to have, number one, I research not only the value of a car, but the depreciation of said car. I actually research how much the car that I select depreciates over time, with the goal of having enough value in that car once I've paid it off and during the course of me paying it off, to where I am never upside down in a car note. That is number one. Hence why I always say I'm always going to pay 20% down at the very least. Me personally, I do not buy brand new vehicles. I generally buy 1 year out or 1 to 2 years out, because the biggest chunk of depreciation comes out in year one. So I would rather let someone else eat that depreciation than take it on myself. The only exception I am going to make, because this will be the final car payment that I have in my life. The only exception to that will be when I retire. I will buy a brand new vehicle when I retire, because that will be the vehicle that will carry me until I probably don't want to drive anymore. So there's that. You know, of course, I research how I'm going to pay it. I make a plan for how I'm going to pay it. I research the insurance cost. I research the cost of maintaining the vehicle, because that is very, very important. Now, I've driven the same car for a couple of decades now, so I'm very familiar with this car type. And actually, previously, my very first one, I could do my own oil changes and maintenance, but these I cannot. And what else? I make sure, although I do select a longer payment range, usually 60 months, I try to pay my cars off in a 3-year period of time, because it doesn't matter what you select as far as the length. The only thing that affects is going to be your interest rate. But you can alter that interest rate by paying more than what your car payment is. That is what I do to essentially reduce the interest that I'm paying. So I always plan to pay my cars off in a 3-year window. So that is what I'm going to do with this car. I just wanted to make sure that I'm being responsible in how I'm talking about this, because, you know, we want things, and believe me, this car was just a want. It was just a want. It was a want with a lot of thought behind it, and it was a want with various other reasons that I haven't talked about up here, don't plan to talk about up here behind it. But I just didn't want to promote doing things willy-nilly without thought. Only you know what you can take on for yourself. I have always stated personal finances are very personal, and what you do may not be what the next person does. And that doesn't mean the next person is necessarily wrong. And it doesn't mean that they're not wrong, that they're right. It could be that just that their situation is a completely different one than yours. So I wanted to address that before I go into the car situation, because I am going to break down how I plan to pay this car off and kind of talk about some of the thoughts that went into making this purchase, and my plan to pay it off. So I wanted to start off by saying, when I started this channel in June of 2024, I had more debt than I have right now, even with this car. So you guys were along the way, the ones that have really been riding with me. You watched me pay off $27,000 of student loan debt in the year of 2024. You watched me make my final payment in 2024. And I'm inviting you to watch this balance go down as well. You will see it go down. So we're going to rock this just like I did with that student loan. We're going to knock it out. And we're going to be right back into a debt-free situation, less the mortgage, and even the mortgage is going down. So we're going to have both of them simultaneously, knocking them out each month. That is my plan, and that's how we're going to proceed. Now let's talk about this car. So the car I selected was the M440i, and I selected this car for various reasons. The depreciation on this car is about, you're going to lose probably about 54 to 55% of your car's value in the first 5 years. After that, it kind of stabilizes. So that would put this car still having most of the value that I have on my car loan at the end of my term. In fact, it may have a little more because I do not drive the usual amount of miles. So we'll see where it lands at the end. I'll do another assessment once I pay the car off. And I plan to pay this car off in 3 years. This is how I plan to do it. And that is another reason why I kept those funds to the side, because it's almost like an insurance policy to ensure that I will be able to stay on track and reach the goals that I'm trying to reach to get this car paid off in that amount of time. So I'm going to kind of go over my thought process with this, and I'm going to pull up the figures here just so you can see them. This car, my car loan is $35,456.54. So that at a 60-month 4.5% interest rate, that would be $661.02 per month, paying $4,204.98 in interest over the life of the loan, should I keep it open for the full 60 months, which I do not plan to do. So I knew that I'd had to pay at least $11,818.84 per year toward that principal. That's just a flat rate. I need to pay that in a 3-year period each year to get this knocked out. So how I plan to do that is I will always pay $796 per month for the car. Now, I do have found money months during the year. I have never been without one, but it's always possible that you don't have one because they're not guaranteed. That's why I do not budget those until they are in my account. So because they're not guaranteed, I wanted to have that money put aside so that I know that I could still do a lump sum payment each year. So what I plan to do is pay that $796, which would put me having $8,153 applied to year one, $8,527.75 applied to year two, $8,919.52 applied to year three, and that's just paying that $796 per month. And then at least once a year, with found money, if it is available, I plan to do one lump sum payment. And I have split out how much those payments need to be in each of the years that they need to be done in. And that will be how I pay this off by the 36th month. Now, if that goes as planned, because all I need is one found money month, I would effectively pay roughly 2.495% interest. And if it doesn't happen and I just have to do one single lump sum, which is something I could also do at the end of that 3-year period, I would still have $9,192.49 left on that car at the end of year 3. I would just pay that in a lump sum. Now, that's not going to reduce my interest as much. It's only going to take it down to about 3.751. But, hey, still better than 4.5. So I would still save, nearly $1,000 in interest. So that is how I plan to pay this car off. The selection process of this car was how it held value. I wanted to select a model that held the value that I wanted it to hold. I wanted to ensure that I had a warranty. I do have 5 years warranty on this car, manufacturer warranty on the car, and I do not have to pay for my scheduled maintenances. I should have the car paid off before I have to pay any maintenances on the car. I just take it in, they do my oil changes and all that good stuff. Um, and that came with the car, so I didn't have to pay extra for that either. So that's a good thing. Those are the types of things that I look for when I'm trying to make a plan. So I don't want to have those maintenance expenses and all that. That allows me more ability to focus on just the loan and not worry about those other incidentals. So that is how I plan to pay this car off. I do not budget my personal account on this channel. I only do our joint bills. So what I plan to do moving forward is to put a little ticker up here on the screen. Each time I do my budget, I'm going to tell you how much is left on my mortgage and how much is left on the car. And you will see these balances go down. And then I will give a grand total of where I'm standing each month. So we can watch these balances go down together. So that is how we're going to do it. And that's how I'm going to approach it. And I got this. I got this because I've done more than this before. My student loans were $78,000 initially. When I started my debt payoff journey, they were at, I think that was in 2020, they were at $73,000. And student loans are very hard to pay down. Their interest rate are so high. Was so high. It was like 6.7% on those. So if I could do that, I could certainly do this and not have to touch any other funds. I will be continuing my bridge account updates, not changing. I will be continuing all of my savings buckets, not changing. All that's changing is that now I will have this debt that I will be aggressively paying. So I hope that you will stay tuned along the way and watch me do just that. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch me today. I know I look a mess. It is a lazy Saturday, so please forgive me. But I will talk to you guys soon. Happy debt journey, people. Happy debt journey. So, and no, I do not regret it. Absolutely not. Not a bit. So, I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.